Welcome in, everybody, to episode number 15 of the Big Blue Breakdown. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here to the Big Blue Breakdown. Thank you guys so much for listening on podcast or on YouTube, wherever you guys are listening or watching. If you're on podcast, make sure to follow their comment. I'm more than happy to respond back. And same thing on YouTube, comment here and subscribe. And like. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys have done up to this point. It means a lot for the podcast. And again, make sure to follow, subscribe, like wherever you are. Please help out the podcast. It means so much. You guys have done wonders so far for the podcast. Also, go check us out on social media at BigBlue_Breakdown on TikTok, X, and Instagram. So, on today's episode, we will be discussing the game of the year. And I know, North Carolina and Duke are playing. That's where College Game Day is going to be. But honestly, I think the game of the year is here. That's not just a bias because I am a Kentucky fan, but I truly believe with the story behind this game and the history behind these two programs for the past year, I think it adds up to be a game of the year. And you look at that North Carolina team. North Carolina is not good. Arkansas is not that great either. But I do think the storyline is better here. And just for this year, I think the North Carolina-Duke rivalry, is daggone awesome, especially when both teams are really, really good. It's probably the best rivalry in college basketball when both teams are legit. That's just not the case this year. I do think with the storyline, this game is the game of the year. Obviously, reliant on behalf of John Calipari and his departure from the University of Kentucky to move on to the University of Arkansas. Arkansas lost Eric Musselman to USC. Cal goes over there to have a fresh start, as people would say. But obviously in this one, we're going to be previewing the Arkansas versus Kentucky matchup. We're going to give history and I mean, so many players that were committed to Kentucky, that played at Kentucky, so many coaches that were at Kentucky. Just going to talk about all of that here. Then we're going to dive into the matchup. Then we're going to talk about the atmosphere. I'm going to give my personal opinion on the boo or no boo situation. Why it's a must win for the Cats in this one. And then finally, I'm going to give my prediction. Before we get into that, I'm going to get me a drink here. Okay. Before we dive into the matchup, I'm going to give some history here. Okay. I want to talk about John Calipari's years at the University of Kentucky. Those years, I feel like, are very much crowded by the last couple of years because the Cats were lacking so much success with such great talent. You look at last year, Rob Dillingham, a top 10 pick, Reed Sheppard, the number 3 pick in the draft, Antonio Reeves, really, really good roster last year, really good roster the last couple of years, and couldn't make it out of the first round last year. Lost to Oakland in the round of 68, then round of 64, excuse me. Am I getting that right? Round of 64, whatever it is, 68, 64. It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. It's 64. What am I doing? But needless to say, the last couple of years were very much unsuccessful for John Calipari and the Cats. Now, for a while, people were calling for Calipari's job. He was getting paid a lot of money to do average work at Kentucky, and the standard at Kentucky is make it to Final Fours, win national championships, very high expectations here. And we weren't making it out of the first round with tons and tons of talent. Now, you look at John Calipari, and he is an all-time great coach. I think he was an amazing coach at Kentucky. As Mark Pope and as Rick Pitino would say, he's a Hall of Fame coach. And I want to dive into kind of his career here at Kentucky. And man, was he a good coach. He brought a lot of great memories for Cats. Okay, I don't want people to hate him. I don't. I don't hate him. And I'll get into the boo or no boo thing. And I kind of have a different look at it. Maybe them. A lot of people have maybe same. If you guys want to comment in the comment section, if you guys are attending this game, or if you were to be attending this game, would you boo? Would you clap for him, or would you just kind of stay silent in this situation? Let's dive into Coach Cal's career here at the University of Kentucky. His overall record here at Kentucky was 410 wins, 123 losses. Very good there. He coached at the University of Kentucky for 15 seasons, the 2009-2010 year, and then lastly, which was last year, 2023-24 year. He had some very good years at the University of Kentucky. I believe we made 4 Final Fours. Obviously, the one national championship in 2012. You look at the 2014, is it 2014? Yeah, 2014-2015 team, first in the AP, and we went 38-1 that year. We didn't lose a single game until the Final Four. That team was special. He brought a lot of great memories, right? We had very good teams when he was the coach here. Now, the problems started to occur when more recent seasons have happened. I kind of take the COVID year out. That was a bad year for everybody. I think that can be taken out. I think that that year, if used on him, is taken out of context. I don't use that year. I don't think anybody should use that year. And obviously, if you did great things, you did great things that year. But nonetheless, this guy had a tremendous coaching career at the University of Kentucky. I don't know how many SEC championships he won. I know he won a ton. All right. He got to 20 plus wins every year except for the COVID year. You know, like, this team, when he was a coach, was a very good team. I think more of the things came behind the scenes, especially when the winning wasn't going on. Coach Cal didn't have the best relationship with the fan base. Coach Cal didn't have the best relationship with the AD and Mitch Barnhart. So things kind of took a turn there. People were calling for his job because of the lack of success for multiple years, which is understandable. He wanted a fresh start. We kind of wanted him out for our fresh start as well. And you see what we got. Mark Pope, probably going to be one of the best, if not right now. To me, he is a top 5 coach in college basketball, period. You look at what he's done. I think that's a conversation for a different day, but I think at some point when he is coaching here at Kentucky, he will be known as the best coach in college basketball at that moment. But yes, I would just want to say Coach Cal was an amazing head coach here at the University of Kentucky. Had so many great teams, so many great memories, and had a lot of success. I want to get that out there. You look at the current roster of the Arkansas Razorbacks. 3 players played at the University of Kentucky last year, in DJ Wagner, Big Z, Zvonimir Ivasic, and Adu Thero. And then excuse me, I'm losing the name here. A walk-on. I can't think of his name. He's a cousin to DJ Wagner. Those 3 guys played at the University of Kentucky last year. Obviously, Adu Thero playing 2 seasons with the Cats, and last year being his second season and final season before transferring to the University of Arkansas following his head coach, Cal. Now, you look at the coaching staff, except for John Calipari. You look at Chin Coleman, who was an assistant coach last year with Coach Cal. Tyler Eulis, who is beloved in I don't think he should be booed ever. Man, did he probably was my favorite player when he was playing here at the University of Kentucky. I love Tyler Eulis. I would love for him to join the staff one day at Kentucky again. I just love Tyler Ulis. I think he's a great guy. I think he can be a good coach. He was an amazing player here at Kentucky. And then you look at guys like Kenny Payne, who obviously left to go to the Louisville job, but coached at Kentucky at one point. Maybe I'm missing a couple guys on the coaching staff, but those are just the main names to throw out there. And then you look at the recruits. The recruits that Kentucky didn't bring in, except Kentucky had one commitment, and that was Travis Perry, who stayed committed. Other guys were Boogie Flan. We'll get to him, who's out for the season. That probably was their best player at one point this season before getting injured and is out for the year. Carter Knox, brother to Kevin Knox. Yeah, Kevin Knox, who played at Kentucky as well. He's at Arkansas now. He flipped his recruitment, and so did guys like I'm blanking on the name here. Billy Richmond. Billy Richmond went there as well. Now other decommits didn't follow in Cal's footsteps. You look at Santos Serial, Jaden Quaintance, who's at Arizona State now, having a good year. And I kind of reminisce on, especially like the Big Z night when he finally got freed and he came out there and balled out against Georgia in his opening day for the Cats. I mean, great memories, but we have moved on and we are just in love with this current team with Kentucky. That's really the history breakdown here. Wanted just to get that out of the way. If anybody's not up to speed here, yes, I mean, it's going to be insane because it felt like the fan base felt like Cal maybe betrayed him, saying that he was going to come back and then all of a sudden kind of sneaking away and take this Arkansas job, which was very unexpected. Take recruits with him, take players with him. So yes, he is hated by a lot. I don't necessarily hate him. I think it was time for him to go. I think it was, and I'm not saying to be fired or anything like that. He made a personal decision there. But I think it was just a good time. It was a good time, and plenty of people say it was time before that, and maybe there's a conversation there. But that is the history right here, the connections between the two. Let's dive into this matchup. You kind of looked at this in the offseason as this is probably gonna be a top 25 matchup at least, right? At least, right? Well, Arkansas season has not gone to plan. The Razorbacks are 12-8 and 14th in SEC. They are 1-6, if I'm not mistaken, in SEC play. Yes, they are. They are 1-6 in conference play, which is just absurdly bad. They 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 1-6 in conference play. Previously to winning their very first game, they had lost 5 in a row in conference play. Now, yes, they have played very good competition in the SEC so far. They had a solid, okay, non-con schedule. I mean, they lost to it looks now as not a great loss at all. They lost to Baylor 72-67. Now they beat Michigan, which is probably their best win on their schedule, their best resume win, and honestly, that's not that great when you have Michigan as your lone big time win. Now Georgia is Georgia is their one SEC win, and that wasn't even considered as a quad one win. Their resume is quite bad. I mean, just blatantly being honest, their resume is just quite bad. Now they sit here again at 12-8 and 1-6 in conference play. They also lost to Illinois by 1390-77. They barely scraped by a terrible Miami team whose coach left this season. Obviously a very good coach, but they beat them only by 3. now entering conference play. They played, at that time, the number one team in the country at Tennessee, got handled by them, 76-52. Ole Miss, they played a pretty solid game against Ole Miss, losing 73-66. Played a solid game against Florida at home, 71-63. Lost to a terrible LSU team, was at the bottom of the SEC, 78-74, and then got pretty much destroyed by Missouri. At Missouri, 83-65, get their lone SEC win against Georgia, 68-65, and then fall again to a not so great SEC team in Oklahoma, 65-62. They haven't played well, guys. They haven't played well, but I want to dive in to their roster and maybe what are some bad matchups for the Cats. Obviously, in this, we do this every time. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to tell you about the matchup. I'm going to tell you what this team does well, what this team doesn't do well, and where Kentucky has to, where they have some good matchups. Obviously, at the very end, I'm going to get my prediction. But before that, I'm going to go into 4 keys to a win. But before all of that, not before this, obviously, but before all of that, I am going to talk about just the overall atmosphere and the boo or no boo situation, and then we'll dive back into this. So continuing along here on this breakdown, looking at KenPom, I always go here to look at a lot of things. Arkansas Razorbacks are ranked 60 in KenPom. That is not where I think anybody really expected this team to be, especially me. I didn't think they were going to be phenomenal. I was kind of scared that they were going to be really good, but I didn't think it would be like a phenomenal team. I thought, top 25, top 15 team, as Cal usually has had in the past couple of years. This team has loads of talent, but just hasn't panned out. Well, 60th in KenPom. You look at their offensive adjusted efficiency. They sit at 101st in the country. Defensively is where they have been a lot better. Defensively is where they have made their money and made their mark. Solid defensively, 35th in the country, which is better than Kentucky right now. But their offense is lacking. Kentucky jumps up. Actually, I think we were at 23 about a week ago. In KenPom, jump up to 19th again. Sitting obviously at 15-5, 4th best offense in the country according to KenPom, and 70th best defense according to KenPom. We need to get that number up. I would like to get that number up to probably 60 or higher. I thought we had a really good performance against Tennessee defensively. Okay. Moving along here, again, thank you guys for tuning in here to episode number 15 on the Big Blue Breakdown. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow on podcast if you are there as well. Need a quick drink break before we dive into the Arkansas Razorbacks, player-wise and statistically, some more. So, moving along to some of their individual statistics, some guys to really watch out for. Adu Thero, he had his name, he corrected somebody on his name while he's at Arkansas. I'm trying to get this right. Adu Thero, not Thiero. Thero leads the team in 3 of the major statistics. Points, which he's averaging 16.1, 16 points a game for Adu, 6.2 rebounds a game, and this is one of the only ones that he isn't leading in. That's his assists, and that is where Boogie Fland is out. 5.7 assists. Boogie was averaging no more. He is gone with a thumb injury. He's leading. Adu Thero is also leading the team in steals with 1.8, and then blocks is Zvonimir Ivicic leading the team with 1.8 blocks. Adu Thero has been your best player up to this point, especially with a guy like Boogie Fland being out. this team actually had a very, very good transfer portal class. If you looked at, rankings and everything like that, what these players have done, really overall, this team, talented, this team can probably do something. What's wrong with this team? Poor shooting. This team, I think, is the last in 3-point efficiency. I think they are one of the worst teams, I think, getting to the free throw line. I think. Not a good shooting team at all. Not a good shooting team at all. Now, DJ Wagner sits here as the other player, except for Adu Thero, averaging double digits. He averages 10.2 points per game. Very good. At getting downhill, he is also averaging 3.2 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 1.1 steals a game. And he is also averaging probably two turnovers a game while shooting 40% from the field, which isn't great. 77% from the free throw line and a whopping 32% from 3-point land. Thero is not a good 3-point shooter. 22% here, 70% from the free throw line. Very good overall percentage though, especially getting into the paint, sitting at almost 60% from the field from Adu Thero. One of the biggest pickups in the portal was a FAU transfer, Janelle Davis. He is only averaging 8.9 points a game, 3.6 rebounds, 1.4 assists. Very good free throw shooter, average 91.3% from the free throw line. Not a great 3-point shooter this season, 31%, and he's shooting 38% from the field. This is the guy that you expected to be one of the best players possibly in the SEC this season. Hasn't been that at all. Zvonimir Ivisic, 7.4 points a game. Now, this is a guy that I think can cause a lot of trouble for the Cats. Him and Thero, the two guys that I'm really, really looking at. And the reason is because Kentucky struggled with big men that can shoot and have struggled with a bigger type of guard that can handle the ball. Zvonimir is shooting 40% from 3-point land. He can shoot the ball. Now you kind of have some I don't want to say role players here, but this team doesn't have a lot of depth. If we're being completely honest here, this team doesn't have a lot of depth. Carter Knox, a big-time freshman, only averaging about 6.7 points a game. Trevor Brazile, which is the lone returner to this team, not playing a lot of minutes, 6.3 points a game for him. Jonas Adu, who I think is going to be a big matchup in this one. Jonas Adu, a transfer from Tennessee, averaging 6 points a game, but he is averaging 1.2 blocks per game and averaging 4.5 rebounds a game. And I think the matchup between him and Amari is going to be huge. I think Amari is going to play better against somebody like Z because he can handle him down in the paint offensively, and he can handle him in the paint if Z is going to try to score offensively. I think he might struggle with him a little bit on the outside. I like Brandon on the outside on him a little bit more, but I think Amari could have a big game in this one. But you kind of see some challenges here. This team, I think, is last in the SEC in average points per game. Obviously, their defense is a lot better than their offense. And they've just struggled. They have just struggled. This team is desperate for a win. I think, which is what makes them dangerous. Kind of like a lot of Calipari teams, very talented. Just the roster construction. Not a lot of shooters. You don't see shooters. This team is not going to beat you from the 3-point line, at least in my eyes. They're not. And to me, that's the truth. Now, this team is a pretty solid defensive team. But this team is also 1-7 against teams that are 150th or better in KenPom on the offense side of the ball. Kentucky's 4th. As much as I want to say, yes, this team can cause some problems for the Cats, I just don't see it. They haven't proved anything, and I think with how the energy, which I'm going to dive into it here soon, with the energy of this crowd is just going to be insane. Okay, maybe guys like DJ, Adu, and Z kind of press because so their former team. Guys on the Kentucky side aren't as mentally like what hyper fixated. I mean, I don't want to say hyper fixated. No, they're not focused. They're not focused. But they don't have that, that connection to this like these guys are gonna have, which I think can also be a good thing for the Cats, if I'm being completely honest here. Okay, I want to dive into a couple things, and then I'll get into Kentucky's advantages, maybe a disadvantage, their matchups for keys to a victory, and then prediction. 2 things I want to dive into here: the atmosphere, boo or no boo, and then why it's a must win. The atmosphere, it's going to be quite insane how good it's going to be. It's going to be electric. It's going to be electric. That's a no doubter in my brain. Obviously, your coach that was just with you a year ago, who had major success at this school, leaves to go to a SEC school in your conference, kind of a rival school the last couple of years, and you're playing them on your home court. A lot of drama here. A lot of drama. Be completely honest. Yes, the atmosphere is going to be insane. I think this energy is really going to help Kentucky and boost Kentucky, because Kentucky has struggled in the games that, hey, like, you're better than this team. This team doesn't have a phenomenal record. They don't have a phenomenal resume. You're statistically a lot better than this team. You should win this game. That's the losses that Kentucky has dropped. I think the crowd can really play a factor in Kentucky not dropping this type of game with the crowd behind them. I think with Mark Pope trying to get this team up and really put in their heads what this game actually means to the Kentucky fan base, I think that will help so much with the recent struggles in the department of who you're playing and stuff like that. The boo, excuse me, I just stuttered a lot. The boo or no boo situation here. Okay. I'm going to tell you what I would do if I was going to the game. Obviously, I'm not. So I'm telling you what I would do if I was going. I wouldn't boo. I also wouldn't cheer. I would just kind of stay silent. That is just me. Now, on the flip side, Kentucky boos every coach, every SEC coach, every coach that walks into this arena that is trying to beat you. They boo him. And that is the truth. That's the truth. They boo the players, everything like that. We're not friends. But John Calipari is going to get booed. And he's going to get booed not just because he's walking in here, because he's just an SEC head coach going in a rival head school. Obviously, he coached here at Kentucky. He had great years, had some not so great years. So, with that being said, I think people should do what they want. That's my opinion. I don't think one person should tell you, "Hey, you shouldn't boo. You should clap for this guy." No, do what you want. To me, at the end of the day, for me, he's going to get booed a lot in this game. Some people are going to cheer for him. Some people are going to boo for him. At the end of the day, he's going to get booed more than he's going to get cheered. At the end of the day, look at the Rick Pitino situation. He ended up coming back and getting applauded. I think the same thing is going to happen down the line for Calipari. This stuff is going to happen now. Look down the line. In the end of everything, I think we're all going to be friends. All going to be a part of possibly one big family or something like that. But to me, he's going to get booed, and he it's just something that's a part of it. He knows it's coming. He knows it's coming, and I don't think it's a bad thing to boo against him. All things considered, right? For the people that applaud for him, just do whatever you want. Because I think at the end of the day, he was your head coach. He did have really good seasons here, but he's coming in to try to beat you. You going against him. You're not going for him. He can get his flowers once I don't want to say once we accept him back in. He can get his flowers at a different time. When we're playing them, it's not it. When we're playing them, it's not it. All right? That's kind of my take on it. Do whatever you want, because in a couple of years, in down the stretch, in 8 years from now, he's going to get his flowers that he deserves from the Kentucky fan base. So with that, it's okay to boo. To me, that's kind of my stance on this boo or no boo situation. I want to dive quickly into why it's a must-win situation. Then I'll wrap up the show with keys to a victory for the Cats, disadvantages and advantages, and my final prediction. Why it's a must-win is because Arkansas is not that great. Arkansas this is a quad 2 team. If Kentucky loses, it'd be a bad loss. It'll be a big hole on your resume. For a resume thing, you have to win this game. For an SEC thing, you have to win this game. And the other reason why you win this game is because it is a pride thing for the Cats. It's a pride thing. They're not a good team. First of all, they're not a great team. This would tear down your resume in a sort of way. It'd be a big hole right there. Big gaping hole in your schedule because they're not great. It's a pride thing for the Cats. It's a personal thing. It'll be a nice personal win. And it adds to a win column. And it's a home game in the SEC that you must win. Those are my reasons why you must win this game. Resume, personal thing. If you lose, it's a gaping hole again in your resume. All those reasons, I think it's a must win for the Cats. All right. Diving into the last portion of this episode. Thank you guys again for tuning in here. And if you're watching the now, please give your guys' predictions for this game in the comments. Who you guys having in this one? And if you guys want to add something on there, if you were to go, boo or no boo. Okay. My keys to the game for the Cats. The advantages for the Cats is going to be first of all, the amazing energy from the crowd. Number two, it's going to be the lack of depth from this Arkansas team. I think our offense can find a lot of holes in their defense, and this team isn't very good offensively. We're not a great defensive team, but if we play average, I think we can really cause them a lot of trouble. I think we're just a better team overall. I think our shooters can cause a ton of problems for this team and our pace of play. Okay, moving on to the what are some disadvantages here? The disadvantage to me, the lone disadvantage is Adu Thero. Lamont Butler is not playing tomorrow, and Andrew Carr is probable. So Andrew Carr is most likely going to play. I think he'll play a lot more than he did in the Tennessee game. I would have loved to see him. Really, be productive. Haven't seen him play healthy in a while, so I'd like to see that. Kind of rolling with the same rotation, I guess, which worked very well against Tennessee. And this team isn't nearly as good defensively as a Tennessee is. So, to me, you can find some holes there. Okay, my 4 keys to a win. Number 1, whoever is matched up on Adu, it's probably going to be Andrew or maybe somebody like Otega Owe, which I kind of like that matchup between Otega and him. I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go. Slow down a do. Number one is gonna be slow down a do. Number two, it's gonna be play at our pace of play. Play at our pace of play. You've seen with teams like excuse me, I'm blanking out here. What I was gonna say. With teams like a Florida, the pace of play can really cause this team problems. I think the Cats can take advantage of that. Play at our own pace. Number three, to me, it's going to be, I think we have to, because this team's not a good shooting team. Period. This team's not a good three-point shooting team. Number three is going to be protect the rim. You protect the rim against this team, make them shoot the ball. They're going to shoot their way out of the game. And lastly, I'm not going to put a number on how many threes to hit, whatever. Lastly, it's going to be have a fast start, just like in the Tennessee game. Excuse me. Have a fast start. If you have a fast start and you get up in a lead, this Arkansas team, is not built to come back. We have too many weapons on the outside, too many great shooters like Ansley Almanor, Kobe Brea, obviously Jackson Robinson. Those three guys have really stepped up last game. I really love the way Ansley Almanor is playing right now. Omari Williams played an amazing game last game as well. What about Colin Chandler on defense? What about Trent Noah coming in, being very productive? I thought Travis played okay in that one. I think Brandon Garrison has been pretty efficient and obviously the best player on the floor for the Cats for a while has been Otega Owe, being the penetrator. Very good. I just think if we play our pace of play, if we protect the rim, we have a really good chance of winning this game. Have a fast start. This team is not built to come from behind. Go out there, bang 3-4 threes early. Take a double-digit lead. To me, you got it pretty settled right there. This team is not that great, guys. They're not. It's just that obviously what happened in the offseason and everything. Okay. My final prediction here. I'm going to go with the Cats, obviously with the W. Give me the Cats to win. Give me the Cats to win by 15. I'm going to take 90 to 75. 90 to 75, 15-point win for the Cats at home against the Arkansas Razorbacks. An emotional victory for the fan base. Kind of get the last laugh against Cal. It's gonna be crazy. But what do we have to do to win this? Yes, they're a struggle, but there is keys for a win for the Cats. Slow down to do. It's their best player. You cannot let him get hot, and he's their best chance of winning this ball game. Slow down to do. Play at our own pace. Control this game. Protect the rim because they're not a great at shooting. So if you protect the rim, I think, and they have to shoot, that's just a recipe for success with the Cats. And finally, have a fast start. Get ahead. This team is not meant to play from behind. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here to the Big Blue Breakdown episode number 15. Leave your guys' game predictions in the comments. And boo or no boo. Go check us out at Big Blue Breakdown, at Big Blue _Breakdown, on social media, TikTok, X, and Instagram. We'll catch you guys actually on Sunday for a review of the Arkansas-Kentucky game. I can't wait to cover it. Hopefully the Cats pull out this one. Be very emotional. We'll talk about that on the Sunday edition of Big Blue Breakdown. Thank you so much for episode number 15 here. And as always, go Cats. Let's kick John Calipari's butt.